The other key thing happening last year after AI was announced is that how that is transforming our industry to create more opportunities. Sometimes we had a feeling when I talked to some of the institutions, students used to ask them, this is going to take out the jobs. But really seeing that's creating more and more jobs for the technology folks. And there are companies in the Western world creating applications or the websites to contextualize selling of the services to their customers. We have platforms that we created for customer support agents to give contextualized information as a service their end customers. Language is no more a barrier, right? We can speak in Tamil, we can convert to English and any other language, and documentation can be converted vice versa. So the opportunities are enormous. We are seeing in the IT world itself, we are seeing opportunities to improve productivity, come up with newer ideas and offerings and so on. We are seeing products coming in. For example, the TVs that the traditional TVs are now to become smart TVs. Last few years now we see that AI-enabled TVs are coming in, right? Because the computing power, machine learning is can get contextual information. You see the AI TVs are actually coming in. You see many products like that coming in the world, and thereby now day-to-day life we will start leveraging AI much more than what we used to do in the past. For the technology people in our country especially, because one of the key things of AI technology, and we are the state where one of the top institutions who is IIT Chennai is top in technology world or engineering. We have CMI and many other institutions, right, will really help India to leap forward is what we think in next 5 to 10 years. As the products start coming in, the enterprises start changing their applications into AI-enabled, that create more job opportunities for the tech companies. More and more products will start coming in. There will be transformational work in terms of business changes that will be coming in. So the CEOs of the companies are looking at how AI can be used to sell more services to their end customers. While this is creating opportunities for all of us, there is also the other side of it where how can we make responsible AI, right, in practice? Because companies are losing money because of deep fakes. I mean, one company in one of these our neighboring countries lost. The fraud people actually created the CFO as a deep fake AI model, and then the person from the organization actually had to transfer some 25 million money actually, and so on. So I think the government has to play a much stronger role to bring in policies to make it stronger in terms of the policies, the infrastructure and support, etc. So I think there's an opportunity on that side as well. So in a summary, I think the industry will evolve much stronger, much better, it will create more opportunities. And I think as a country, as a state, for us, we are uniquely positioned. And I think as an industry and CI and ICT together, we will take forward that. And of course, the GCCs are coming up. In my view, it's not a threat for us. We will create more opportunities for us, right? Because more and more research will come to our country. And that's what you are seeing, that many companies, as we speak, last week I was speaking to one of their clients from Germany, they want to set up GCC in India because they want to capitalize the capabilities that we have in here. And I think that will last for long. We will support them to coexist, thereby more opportunities for our folks in our country. And thereby I think we will grow much faster. With that, thank you for welcoming me here once again, and wish you all the very best. And thank you.
Requesting Mr. Kumar Jain, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary to the Government of Government for Information Technology and Digital Services. Please, sir.
Honorable Minister for Information Technology and Digital Services, respected Director DRDO, other dignitaries on the dais, and all the other champions of industry and participants of this seminar. It is indeed a happy occasion for me to be here. Madurai happens to be the hometown of our Minister of IT, so I am sure it is a apt occasion to be present here today when Madurai is poised for a larger leap. I congratulate CII for stringing together an actually meaningful video which shows how important and deep concepts are being generated out of Madurai beyond what is regularly seen as just simple servicing or client servicing architecture. So a lot of IT is already present here in Madurai, and I am sure with this basic infrastructure being ready, we are poised for a better expanse ahead. From IT department point of view, ELCOT has a available landscape available in outskirts of Madurai. Right now it may not look very inviting, but there are industries who have taken up and are establishing units there. So very soon you will see it as a vibrant space. So my request to all of you is to just promote this idea that Madurai is poised for the leap. And if you are an early mover, you will reap the advantage of Madurai. So current scenario is best suited for people who are thinking of expanding anywhere else or starting to set up a place here. Infrastructure is already available. Human resources, Tamil Nadu is always renowned. Within Tamil Nadu, if you segregate East Tamil Nadu, the Delta area is not so well known for being very industrious because life has been very easy. Almost 2000 years ago, we had kings who created water supply system. So apparently agriculture was without any effort. So people have lived very peacefully. It was very prosperous. And when the society moved ahead to industry and all, the area which was the most prosperous and able to rule the world has become the least prosperous. This is the same thing which I see in my hometown. I am from Bihar, Nalanda district. One of the poorest area because nobody dies of starvation there. Because agriculture is so easy. There are no agricultural structures, but geography and climate is so that 2 to 3 crops are taken. And Nalanda, which had fed the intellectual revolution of India with Nalanda University, and there are 3 more universities within 15 kilometers of Nalanda University, which are only in ruins. But that was the capacity in the early part of millennia to feed the whole world and give an intellectual capital to the whole world. And in Nalanda University, with their villager support, all the education was free. And that area is one of the poorest today. Probably because industry did not develop there because the life is so easy. Even in Tamil Nadu, if you see in Western Belt, people are very industrious because agriculture is not so great for last thousands of years. Madurai falls somewhere in between. You have great industry, great culture, and reasonably good industry, agriculture. So there is enough scope, and I am sure in the society there is enough entrepreneurship available to take it to the next level. I know the whole world knows Madurai as the great place of tradition and culture and spirituality and art and architecture. This has to be merged with the modern upcoming needs of the fast moving IT sector and the human resources who man these places. So I am very happy to see again the other point that ICI had organized a tour and trying to promote it to all the participants with some lesser known things where you are involving farms, bird watching, Jain caves, Jain beds, all of it is being melded into a day trip where people can go. These are the things which can be used to provide alternate leisure opportunity for the human resources. If you have an IT sector where 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 employed, you have to have social infrastructure to keep them engaged during the weekend, because otherwise they will feel that the place is not happening enough. And Bangalore is sitting, Pune is waiting, Hyderabad is waiting, where there are so many opportunities. One of the advantages of Tamil Nadu is that the tier 2, tier 3, whatever we call it, is much better than any other state's capital. If you take either Madurai or Trichy or Coimbatore, in all other parameters it will be better than any, except 5-6 cities in the country, it will be better than any other state capital also. So that is the advantage, and I am sure Madurai is poised to take lead. What we need basically is that you have to build more visitor interest by building up stories. So I am slightly diverting from IT sector here. We have very, very good stories which we can build, but we are very, very bad in showcasing. Whether it is the Tamil Nadu as a whole of how attractive it is and how good it is for IT sector or other sector, or even for tourism. Recently, one of my batchmates have been designated as ambassador to Netherlands. So we have been discussing on the group that okay, you go and land there and set up your house, we will come and visit. Then I was trying to see why Amsterdam is famous. Amsterdam is so famous for tourists that it is one of the cities along with Barcelona and Venice in Europe who is actively trying to say don't come, we are fed up. So many people visit there. But if you see in detail what is available there, it is some food, canals, windmills in the rural area and cobblestone streets. Now, if you compare Madurai, we have so many better things. You have a temple which is much better than any other UNESCO World Heritage Site. Although it is not a UNESCO World Heritage, but it is a practicing temple. Plus you have so many cultural sites around. But we are very, very bad in building stories about it. Cobblestone streets, half the European city make it as a marketing ploy. What is so great about cobblestone street? If you see Europeans, they will say it is very, very good food, grand breakfast. What is their grand breakfast? 4 types of cheeses, 3 types of bread. I am sure if you go to the breakfast spread here, that thing is put in a corner. A Marriott in Madurai is not even bothered about 5 types of cheeses and 4 types of bread is in the corner. Your whole breakfast spread is 5 times that which is there with North Indian, South Indian, Idli, Vada, Pongal, innumerable dishes. We are not able to market. The other point is that for the IT industry, they are always in need of some picnic spot and locations. I know in Bangalore there are farmhouses 15-20 kilometers away from city which are created, curated food tasting menu. 5,000 rupees a head, and they are booked months in advance for weekend. Okay, that level cannot be here because we don't have that level of manpower here where such high-paying companies are there, but at a lower level we can create locations. Now, how many of you know that Palani temple has a story with a person called Bogal? So I am not saying whether it is correct or true or not. There is a story which starts with 3106 when Kollywood came and Bogar established the Navpashan idol to help humanity. Now it is such a grand story that anybody will be interested to go and see, okay, this is temple. They did not go inside to do worship. Or you can have that it is a very good hiking place which has such an old occasion. So how many of tourists companies are marketing Palani as a day trip for all the foreigners who are landing up here, whether in this hotel or in other hotels? They always see Madurai and then at the most they go to Rameshwaram and come back. We are not marketing Palani as a day trip just to hike and see the temple building. No, need to go inside and do the puja. You all know how many of you have gone to Sri Lanka with Sigiriya Rock? Now Sigiriya Rock is a UNESCO World Heritage Site where they are marketing that when you hike up and there is a ruins of some 1500-year-old, only ruins, nothing else. There is a story built up and they will build it up saying that it was a Ravan palace, which is totally wrong. They also agree that it is not Ravan Palace, it was some other king called Kashyap who built. There are 1,000 Airbnb within 5 kilometers of Sikriya. That is the level of visitor one story attracts. And we are not able to attract, so my request to all the people who are in Madurai, in CII, is to have these ideas and create grand stories which can be marketed across the world, and then people can come here. You have a story with Jain caves. Now if you read Iravatham Mahadevan, he has conclusively proved that the writings available in Jain caves here, which they name as, he has named as Tamili, is the root of all writing of all languages of South. That is the root which started here. Now how good is that story? The site is not so impressive, but there are people who are ready to go to top of Yanemalai, where you can show the bed that here the Jain monks slept, and there is one line of language. If you build up the story that has all led to all the languages, if you put Mahadevan's presentation there on top, that this is how it left, then that itself becomes a magnet. Currently it is not so impressive that you go such much on top and all. So all these things will get Madurai much more in the minds of the people. And then obviously then industry will come, social infrastructure will come, hotel chains will come, and it will develop in a much more cosmopolitan manner, and that will help your IT industry to say that it is a world-renowned city where everybody comes and there are so many occasions, so many places to visit. And I hope that helpful atmosphere will promote Madurai in a much better way. So industry also, coming to the industry's point, our Honorable Minister has given us a task to put ELCOT as a nodal agency for all the IT help. So we will very shortly set up a desk in ELCOT where you can get, all the IT industries can get in touch with any requirements. I know there is a single window system through guidance where you go through. On top of that, our unit will be there to help you with specific attention, whatever you need at wherever you need help to deal with the government and government agencies. Then I am sure the CII will come up with more such road shows, and with IT industry we will be able to market Madurai in a much better way, not only as a manpower resource but as a city as a whole and a cosmopolitan infrastructure where everybody can contribute to the development. I would like to end with thanks to one of the leaders of the IT sector from Pinnacle, Mr. Bimal Patwari. Please introduce yourself. He is one of the major clients. He has taken a big land, sir, and building is coming up. I have seen yesterday. So I would like to request Mr. Anil and Mr. Bimal to eat on the same table today. And I am sure just if you eat on the same table today on the lunch, we will see the announcement of Infosys campus very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Now I call upon Dr. Chandrika Kaushik, Director General, DRDO, Ministry of Defence, Government of India, for a keynote address.
Dr. Palangal Tyagarajan, Mr. Kumar Jain, friends from CII, industry, students from academic institutions, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great honor to be here today in the vibrant city of Tamil Nadu, particularly in the historic city of Madurai. The temple city, with its rich cultural heritage and history, has become a growing hub for technology. And I am very happy at the initiative of CII to conduct the 7th edition of CII Madurai Connect 2024, and especially with this year's theme, on connecting the technology ecosystem. With the clarion call of Atmanirbharta, today India stands at the cusp of a transformative era. And in this era, IT-enabled services and manufacturing are going to play a key role. Advanced systems which are reshaping the national defense are all going to make use of these components in one way or the other. These are the building blocks which will help us to make the defense systems more and more powerful, more and more capable for meeting the users' requirements. But what do we need to make this change happen? We need collective, collaborative efforts of one and all. Tamil Nadu has emerged as the top state for electronics exports, and this is a result of the strategic focus on creating an ecosystem that is capable of taking on global responsibilities. The state has built a strong industrial foundation, positioning itself as the most attractive alternative destination when the world sought options for the China Plus One strategy. In the financial year 23-24, Tamil Nadu posted a remarkable 78% rise in electronics exports, increasing from $5.3 billion in 22-23 to $9.5 billion, surpassing its own $9 billion target. Today, Tamil Nadu contributes around 33% of the country's total electronics exports. And it is the state's proactive efforts that made it a global electronics manufacturing hub. And I would like to compliment the Minister and his team here for the proactive steps that has been taken by the government. However, much more needs to be done in the country, particularly in the design and the component manufacturing space. There is a lack of major scale players in the design space, and the country's footprint in the component manufacturing remains to assembly or low complexity components with a higher end production still being untapped. We still stay dependent on the global players for the advanced design and components. And I am aware that the small startups, the micro industries, the design houses based in south of India are contributing to the designs of the global OEMs. However, they are not being acknowledged for the same. The IP that is being generated in the country goes to the foreign shores and is being exported as their products. We need to figure out a mechanism whereby the IP that is generated in the country stays in the country, contributes to the wealth of the country. We need to tap the potential of the startups and the EMS companies filling the gaps in the electronic value chains. We need to have our own complete chain from design to the final product to maximize the values and the wealth that is generated and it stays in the country. Tamil Nadu's success in electronics can be seamlessly integrated into the defense ecosystems. The industries here are ideally placed to contribute to the manufacturing of the critical components such as advanced semiconductors, communication systems, sensor technologies that are essential for the modern defense systems. At DRDO, our journey towards self-reliance in defense has led to the development of a broad spectrum of systems, including electronic warfare systems across all domains: land, naval, air, advanced radar system, different kind of missile systems, airborne fighters, airborne electronic monitoring and communication systems. Today we have all the building blocks in place. However, at the component level, subsystem level, there is still a dependency. Power amplifiers, the ruggedized, miniaturized semiconductor chips. The dependency that is today existing in the country, we need to overcome it, and then only we will have complete control over the supply chain. We will not be Atmanirbhar if we continue to depend on these components on external agencies. Tamil Nadu, with its thriving electronics and IT ecosystem, is well poised to play a pivotal role in the commercial productionization and the scaling up of multiple subsystems that are being developed, be it the inertial navigation systems, the commercial avionics, autonomous systems, all these, the RF satellite data links, whatever is being developed, the industries here can contribute towards production. They can work with the DRDO labs as the development partners and then become a part of the supply chain. Depending on the strength of the industry, be it a startup which can work at TRL 1, 2, 3, or the MSMEs who would like to participate in the subsystems. There is something for each industry to work on with one or the other DRDO lab, and I would encourage you to please have a look at what is existing in the DRDO ecosystem, where you would like to work with which lab, where the interests are matching, and you could connect with those labs and contribute there. The development cum production partner scheme, where the industries are participating as the development partner right from the beginning of the conceptualization. Over the last 5 years, we have identified 107 industry partners who are now supplying to the defense forces after developing it with us, and more than 90 critical systems they are producing. If you look at any weapon system, say I talk about an Akash missile system, till date about 34,000 crore worth of supplies are being made, about more than 2,500 missiles have been, more than 300 industries participate in the production of such systems, depending on what is their competence level. More than 10 academic institutions, multiple DRDO labs, complex weapon systems platforms is a conglomeration of the effort of multiple agencies. If you look at our fighter aircraft, LCA Tejas, it has about 150 MSMEs participating in the production of these. People know only about HAL, who supplies the final product to the users. But looking at the supply chain at the back end, there are about 31 DPSUs contributing to it. More than 50 labs have participated in the development, and as I mentioned, 150 MSMEs contributing to it. To encourage the technology ecosystem development at the grassroots, DRDO has established a technology development fund that focuses on the development of indigenous advanced technologies. Till date, about 70 projects, more than 300 crores have been given. About 5,000 industries are participating with the TDF, and in the last year, we have also enhanced the value of the TDF projects from 10 crores to 50 crores, which is a good amount for any startup or an MSME to focus on the development of new technologies. The Indian ecosystem, particularly in Tamil Nadu, is growing, and we are all migrating from the build to print to build to the design. The capability is there, it is only latent. We need to energize it, we need to make sure that we are able to tap into this latent capability and make it happen. We have also introduced a scheme called a System for Advanced Manufacturing Assessment and Rating, where the Quality Council of India does a holistic assessment of the industry to say where are the gaps, and this assessment also, DRDO is subsidizing 80% for micro industries and 50% for the small industries. For this evaluation is paid for by DRDO. A lot of testing infrastructure, the gravitational tunnel facility, aeronautic test range, ballistic evaluation, Multiple facilities available in the DRDO labs are open to the industries to make use of. The details are there on the website, which can be made use of by the labs. Support for certification, especially for airborne requirements, is provided by Semilac, which provides the necessary review and analysis, gives them a certification go-ahead for putting it on the airborne state. Some of the challenges that the CII and the government could look at, the current cost of financing is considerably higher at, I think something I understand between 9 to 30%, vis-a-vis 2 to 7% in China and Taiwan. Is there something that we can do about it? Can we bring down the financing cost to make it easier for the industries to participate in the D&D process? Creating adequate infrastructure, can we make some, TIDCO is doing a wonderful job in the corridor, but we need more of such efforts, more of such facilities which should be available to the industries. The overall R&D expenditure is less than 1% of GDP, which is far below that of any of the developed countries. And that limits the practical defense-oriented research. How can we increase it? What do we need to do? How do we take it forward? Today, India is targeted that we will capture about 5 to 6% of the global electronics value chain, targeted at about $200 to $250 billion in exports. And we will make the country a key player in the global defense electronic markets. Some of the common use items, especially which have an application in the civilian domain as well as in the defense domain, is where we could look at first initiatives, so that defense being a monopoly market, the buyers are limited to the armed forces or to the export markets. So if certain component subsystems have got applications in the civilian ecosystem also, then it makes it more commercially viable for the industries to produce. And some of the systems like GPS, GNSS, advanced guidance control, there is so much of an overlap between the civil space as well as the defense space. Today, the vehicles are becoming autonomous. There is a battery control system which is required for both the civilian as well as for the defense. We could look at some of those systems to begin with: power management, data processing unit, cutting-edge defense technologies. So these are some of the initiatives that we could look at. We have to look at making first of its kinds innovative products. One of the speakers before me mentioned about the value that has emerged out of WhatsApp and the other platforms. So what is it that makes it so valuable? Those are innovative products which have found niche applications. The ideas were there for everyone. It is translating those ideas into a product, meeting the requirement, meeting the latent requirement of something that is already existing. The minds here are brilliant, and we are the ones who are powering the global innovation ecosystems. It is time to tap it for doing it for ourselves also. So the spirit of entrepreneurship, the spirit of innovation that I see in some of the startups here has to take on an exponential route towards reaching the critical mass and seeing the results here. I would recommend that CII Connect here come up with a roadmap for transforming Madurai into IT, ITS-enabled electronics hub with clear-cut defined goals for short, medium and the long term. In the deliberations over the day, you could work on what should be the goals, what are the interventions that you need from any other stakeholders, be it the state government or the central government or the academic institutions. Do you need anything? Do you need to set up a center of excellence? What needs to be done? Any infrastructure that is required? If during the course of the deliberations, all the panelists could focus on that to come up with a roadmap, I think we would have achieved in meeting the goals that we have set for ourselves today, and we would do a great service towards taking this roadmap ahead and creating the necessary value ecosystem in the country. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Madam. Now I request Mr. Thalaimurai, convener ICT panel, to speak about open labs.
Thank you, Mani. Thank you, Secretary Sir, for asking Infosys to set up a center at Madurai as well. Right? So we have been working really hard. So next is I request the Minister and the Madam to unveil the open labs concept. As I discussed earlier, the idea was to see how do we expose the different assets. Just press it, sir.
Murthana side.
So the idea was to get different assets under this brand or framework going forward, and then see how do we expose all the assets that are available in this region for all the companies that are in needs. There are 3 institutions that are ready to sign up LOI. So I would call upon Tyagaraja Engineering Colleges to the stage to receive the LOI from the Minister. So typically, sir, when we go to the institutions, we have to do the fully. But in this case, it was the institution who was putting a lot of pressure on. So the institutes have been putting a lot of pressure on us, and we are not ready. So happy that we have signed a LOI with 3 institutes. Next, I would call upon PSNA.
Sir, excuse me.
Thank you. I would call upon Professor Lingam. So when we started, sir, we started very small. We ourselves were not sure of the concepts, and so hence we started very small. So first we approached Tyagaraja followed by PSNA, and Professor, the idea is to take it further and then see how we can make it. And while I was catching up with the IT Secretary, sir, he also indicated about how we work with ITAs along these lines, and then he recommended see how we can look at a bigger picture. Thank you so much, and I wish all the best. So some of the takeaways or my questions to some of the institutes which have signed the LOI are, why can't you become a service provider? Right, so you have the asset, why can't you become a service provider? And my personal aspiration is, can Open Labs do the revolution what Linux did to open source? What would it take to achieve that, right? So with that, I would like to invite IT Minister. Thank you.
Mr. Ashwin Desai, the Vice Chairman for Madurai Zone of CII, Mr. Thirumurugan Subraj, the convener of the CII ITS Task Force, Mr. Anil Kumar, the Vice President and Delivery Head of Infosys, my colleague from the Ministry, the respected Additional Chief Secretary of the Government of Tamil Nadu, Mr. Kumar Jain, the Director General of the DRDO, Dr. Chandrika Kaushik, and Mr. Manigandan, who is going to deliver the vote of thanks. The representatives of the institutions that have signed up here for the Open Labs. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for coming to this event. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I must say that I was told to be here at 10 o'clock and I was here exactly at 10 o'clock, and then I saw the printed program that said 9:30. So somewhere there's been a gap in the communications. Not my fault. But anyway, this is the third event that I'm participating in the tech space within the space of probably 4 days or 5 days. On the 29th, I was part of the Startup Tirugula of the MSME department of the Government of Tamil Nadu. On the 30th, we had the Bridge Conference of the ICT Academy, which is in the IT department of the Government of Tamil Nadu. And today I'm here. I hope it's a sign of how important technology and the sector is to Madurai, and equally a sign of how Madurai is emerging as a hotspot for this sector. I must start by saying first that I'm very impressed with this video, because I've been talking at the state level but also at the city level for a while, for about a year now, that we need much better information of what is already existing here, what are the centers of excellence in the commercial space, which companies are doing what, in what areas, and that should be the basis for us to learn what have we done well that has allowed such companies to come and flourish here, or attracted them to flourish here, and how can we market these similar things to other potential investors, companies around the world. In truth, I must say that Tamil Nadu has some very great strengths in the area of IT, ITES and electronics. We were one of the early states to set up a Department for Information Technology in the cabinet level. We have enormous human capital. Depending on your estimates, we're producing between 18 and 23% of all engineering and diploma and ITI graduates in the country, for a state that has about 6% of the population. So it is by far the #1 source of human capital in the country. And we have good infrastructure. Now, infrastructure can mean many things. It can mean physical infrastructure like roads and connectivity and electronics. It can mean and electricity. It can mean transport infrastructure like ports, airports, access. It can mean human diaspora connectivity, which I think is one of our great strengths. I have this year, after many years, I used to live in the United States for 20 years, but now I've been away since 2007 or so. And so I went to the Bay Area this year after a 15-year gap, and I was amazed on otherwise a holiday weekend around the 4th of July, Independence Day. There, almost 85 people turned up to meet me at a dinner event. And the number of Tamils doing extraordinarily well in startups, in venture capital, in big corporates, the big kind of Googles, Facebooks of the world is amazing. In fact, I'm very happy to note, and it was news to me, that my good friend Alavu Periyanan, who grew up 4 houses away from me on the same street, a few hundred meters from here, and was a co-founder of a company called Blue Jeans Network that was sold for hundreds of millions of dollars to Verizon. I'm happy to note that he will be with a moderated fireside chat this evening, just to show you that somebody, my good friend, who grew up 4 hours away from me, at least I went away to boarding school, Alagu did his whole schooling in Madurai, went to BITS Technology, came to the US a few years after me, and has made such an amazing career success. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm happy that he's going to be here as a showcase of the kinds of things we can do. So that's the strengths. In fact, we have some weaknesses. The reason we don't have so much data about what is already happening in Tamil Nadu is that the bulk of the growth over the last 20 years has happened almost independent of all governments. I'm not talking about my government, but I'm saying 20, 25 years of governments. We are not organized optimally. I don't want to get too far into the detail, but I'll just give an example that when the Vice Chairman was speaking this morning, on one area, in one sector, he's talking about what conversation he's going to have separately with SIPCOT, separately with TIDCO, separately with Tidal, separately with ELCOT. This is not how efficient organization should function. So this is the bane of government. I've said it from my days in the finance ministry, that we have 15 or 20 different organizations and not enough actual IAS officers to even manage them. Someday we'll have to clean this up. But this is one of the reasons I think that we have not done such a good job of actually promoting and marketing. We have all these disparate efforts. And ironically, all these disparate efforts in actual execution have only one place for promotion, which is this one-stop shop called guidance, which leads to enormous delays and inefficiencies. The Additional Chief Secretary and I were just talking today about how many people complain of delays in getting attention and traction when they try to go through the single windows, like forcing, a lot of material through the eye of a needle. So there are a lot of things we haven't done that fantastically well, and because of that, most of the growth in this sector in Tamil Nadu has happened purely for the human capital and the infrastructure without actually much government support. In fact, as I've said on the floor of the Assembly, the allocation of funding for subsidies or support payments in the sector is minuscule compared to what a Karnataka or a Telangana, where we compete with, actually allocates. Because they have come independent of us, we don't have the data. We don't know who all are here, we don't know what all they do, and we need people like CII or other research efforts to put it all together. But in spite of all these limitations, here we are, both as a state and in particular as Madurai. What we have achieved is remarkable. You have seen some of the stories on the video. I want to talk about HCL, Thalaimurai entity, which started here with a few hundred people 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and is now at between 6,000 and 7,000 people. So that's the kind of talent that's available here and the ability to scale. I'll also talk about Honeywell. I don't know if anybody's here from Honeywell, but I went to one of their events with some of their management from around the world, and they were so complimentary about the quality of the work being done here, and said that the sustainability initiatives that they have undertaken, this is the center for the entire world for a company as old and amazing and broad as Honeywell, that they have found the talent and the infrastructure here, human capital here to build. The same way my friend Vimal of Pinnacle, the amount of work he's doing around the world, and in less than 2 years, up to about 1,500 people, on his way to doubling or tripling that in the next 2-3 years. So, we have what it takes, at least in terms of the people and the extent of support that we give. We can actually ramp this up quite a lot. In many surveys, Madurai ranks in the top 20 or 25 most attractive destinations for information technology and this sector. But I think we can do a lot better. So some of the efforts we're working on, just to give you a view. The first is that we want to have better fitting of our talent to the needs of the market. So we have greatly enhanced our focus on training, on skilling. We have special programs we've started since we came as a government 3.5 years ago. And we are, through non-development, through ramped up training efforts at ICT Academy, we are trying to increase the fit and the immediate productivity ambitions of the workforce from this huge human capital that we have. We're trying to improve the infrastructure in terms of broadband. We're almost completing the Tamil Nadu fiber net project by the end of this year, and we will be able to provide 100 Mbps fiber connectivity to all 12,650 villages in Tamil Nadu. We're in talks with the National Quantum Computing Mission as well as the government of Finland, as well as some innovative startups to see if we can set up a quantum center of excellence. We are focused on better coordination within the government to ensure that you don't have to talk to 15 different people. Hopefully there will be some announcements in the near future. We want to have better utilization of the resources we currently are managing. For example, in a lot of ELCOT parks, a lot of the land that was allocated has not been actually used, has not been built on. A lot of spaces that were designated SEZ have not had any activity in them, and the SEZ scheme has effectively ceased to exist. So we want to denotify, we want to reallocate, we want to focus on providing holistic environments at these ELCOT parks rather than just office buildings, also the potential for hostels, which many people ask for, also some social activity, recreation centers, dining, things like that. And effectively, what we want to do is move up the value chain. We want to be able to do more than just basic services, as you've seen here. In Madurai, world-class, high-end engineering design, product development, execution happens. We want to do more and more of that. The example of our electronics growth of 78% year over year is in fact a function of a great window of opportunity that has opened up. I'll come back to that in a minute. So, in order to do this, I think what we need is to work closer together. People like CII, the department of the government, the colleges, my good friends who have signed up here today, better utilization of resources, better coordination, better support. DRDO, the Director General is here. In many countries, as you may know, the defense research organizations have been at the heart of innovation. I remember my days when I first went to the United States in 1987. The only people who had email, only people in the world who had email, was the Defense Advanced Research Projects Administration of the United States. Nobody else had email. The notion of email, the notion of connected computers, the notion of IP was basically funded by the Department of Defense of the United States. So I'm sure that DRDO is doing similar seminal work here. The Director General just announced or explained the many different ways that they can support research and development, and I think collectively we can do all of this together much better. I think I will echo what the Additional Chief Secretary said about marketing. I, for one, don't know how to market what I don't believe in. So one of the reasons I asked for all this information is for us to first understand what is it that we really, what story do we have to tell? We don't want to tell a kind of lower level story than we can. And so I hope that once we have this information that shows the kind of world-class projects, companies, efforts, teams, products that are coming out of here, then we want to greatly ramp up our marketing. By good fortune, regularly we get invited. Now we've been invited to GITEX, the big tech fest in Dubai, the Singapore FinTech Festival, few others. I've already attended Vivatech in Paris. We now have, if we have a good story to tell, we are being invited everywhere to tell that story. And that I want to conclude my speech with that fact. The fact is that we have this tremendous window of opportunity. It may not last forever, but it's got at least a few years leg in it. The global kind of investment of all manufacturing, all kind of production in China, that era is over. It has come to a close, and it has come to a very rapid close. Just yesterday, I had two conversations that I thought were very profound. One, on my flight back from Delhi to Chennai yesterday, I happened to sit next to the Asia Pacific head of Saint-Gobain Glass, the big French company. And he was telling me how rapid and how exponential the shift away from China is, and how much places like Vietnam are benefiting from it. And in fact, to be honest, Tamil Nadu's jump to 9.5 trillion is largely driven by that. It's by the fact that Apple has moved a lot of iPhone production assembly into Tamil Nadu away from China. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is going to be, for the next 3, 4, 5 years, of course with competition from places like Thailand and Vietnam and other places, but there's going to be such a demand to move not just manufacturing, but embedded technology, design, chips, all of it away from China, that it is going to be unprecedented. We will never have seen this kind of demand before. And by good fortune, I had lunch with my good friend, Dr. Raghuram Rajan, former governor of the RBI and member of the Chief Minister's Economic Advisory Council. And he was talking about the fact that we have all these young people we need to get employed very quickly, and that might be the challenge of our times in terms of public policy. So we have this huge demand for additional facilities for production, for design, for ITES, for replacement manufacturing coming out of China. And we have all these young people who are reaching productive age, millions and millions of them, that we need to get employed. So both for India and for Tamil Nadu and for Madurai, this is a period of opportunity like no other. And I hope collectively between the government, entities like CII, research institutions like the DRDO, academic institutions like PSNA, like Raju College, like Kalasilingam University, that we will be able to put our best foot forward, collectively capitalize on this, and show this kind of 60-70% growth continuously year over year for the next few years, because that's what it will take for us to achieve our ambition of a 1 trillion economy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.